Hey people, what is up? Welcome back to our channel. Once again, it's me, your bearded bro, QuickSilver 15, back with another video. Hey people,
What?
Today we'll be doing, kind of a two-part video. The first half, we're gonna be reviewing Loki, and in the second half, we're gonna discuss a bit of what we predict might happen in the near future of the MCU, so stay tuned for that. Also, just a quick disclaimer, if you haven't watched, so just a quick disclaimer before we go on ahead. Spoilers, there might be potential spoilers for WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, a little bit of Black Widow, and of course Loki. So if you haven't seen any of those, then just pause this video and come back after you do. So now let's do a quick overview of Loki. So if you haven't watched Endgame, you may be wondering, thought Loki died. And for the most part he did, but you know, for the most part he did, but in this series we are actually looking at a variant of, well, the Loki we know from the MCU, but it's the one that got away with the Tesseract. You know, when Captain America was time jumping and they're trying to get the other time stones from different timelines, Loki managed to escape with the Tesseract, and this is how this story of Loki, the Disney Plus series, started. And since, you know, Loki was never supposed to get away with the Tesseract, in the end of Avengers, the first Avengers, it created a new timeline, and that's where the TVA comes in. So the TVA, aka the Time Variance Authority, kind of our time police that kind of stops any weird timelines from continuing. So they go through different timelines and try to erase any weird stuff that happens. For example, again, Loki getting away with the Tesseract. So after being captured by the TVA, Loki is now introduced to Mobius, an analyst for the TVA, where he is given an option of trying to help the TVA find a dangerous person a dangerous person which happens to be killing TVA agents throughout the multiple timelines. And of course that happens to be another Loki variant, so Loki is actually tasked with finding another Loki. And you know, it just so happens that this Loki is actually a female variant, which is just so effing awesome with Sylvie, Loki. So after a long series of fighting and bickering with Sylvie, Loki and Sylvie become sudden allies, and you know, they join forces to try and uncover the secrets of the TVA and the timekeepers, so you know, they can stop them and try to just restore their own timelines, and you know, continue doing their Loki stuff, Loki business, without any godly figures above them, you know, trying to prune them at every direction. And through the course of this, you know, time jumping shenanigans again, they uncover potentially the overarching bad guy for the next phase of the MCU. So with that said, let's now go over what we think of Loki. And of course, let's start off with the visuals, and you just have to give it up to Marvel for doing such an amazing job on the visuals of Loki, because you know, for a TV series it actually looks like a Marvel film. So It's like 6 Marvel films in just that's just called the series. But yeah, it's very awesome. It is at par with, let's say, Guardians of the Galaxy. They went all out on the visuals for this one. And yeah, there are a lot of very scenic and amazing scenes and worlds that they created for this one. And yeah, much props to the graphics team for that. So now let's go over the story of Loki, and I think they just did such a great job. Like a few years ago, or even before, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has begun to grow as big as it is right now. We probably would never have gotten a story like this. You know, multiverse, timeline, and all that can be quite confusing, but they managed to pull it off with Loki. And now we're excited of all the madness that's about to begin in the multiverse, and it just opens up so many amazing storylines from the comics, and hopefully they bring those out to the forefront in the near future. And we'll talk a bit about that later on in this video. So most of the characters in Loki are just so lovable. They're just so amazing. Well, first off, of course, you have Tom Hiddleston as Loki. And amazingly, we have Owen Wilson as Mobius, and that's just such an amazing choice. I would have never thought of that, and you know, he just did an excellent job. He made Mobius just such a lovable character, and it actually, his death scene was just such a heartbreaking moment for us. And you know, after having seen everything that turned out, we're just happy at where the story went for Loki, and it's just again super amazing. We have a lot of other amazing characters. We have Renslayer, we have Sylvie, we have R15, or what? R15. B15, Hunter B15, which is just so cool as well. Of course, we have the mysterious villain at the end, He Who Remains, who, well, you know, if we're going to be comic accurate, he's not actually He Who Remains, and we'll reveal that at the end of this video. Well, actually, we can reveal it now. Whatever. We did do a disclaimer at the start of this video, so yeah. We have Kang the Conqueror, man, and you know, when he just did the dialogue of who he is and he said Conqueror, it just, you know, I just stopped and it was like, whoa. Like we were like calling it from the start, and it was just such an amazing reveal. And of course, we know that he would be Kang in Ant-Man Quantumania, and having seen him here in Loki is just such a big deal. So again, I feel like these characters, I mean, all of them will be key players in the MCU moving forward. We don't know to which extent, if they will like bleed into the other storylines or other stories, but yeah, we're definitely excited to see more of these guys in the future. So two other, well, very notable characters is actually two variants of Loki, which I believe everybody just loved, and one of them is old classic Loki. He is wearing the classic comic book Golden Age Loki outfit, and it was just so awesome. Glorious purpose. And of course, the other one I would have to say is just Crocodile Loki, and I would just love to see at least a one-shot. Come on, Disney, just a one-shot, you know, a short story of just these two doing weird stuff. And or maybe, you know, since they're just hyper weird fun characters, just, you know, pair them up with Deadpool. I would love to see Deadpool's hand get eaten by Crocodile Loki. Yeah, I think that would be awesome. I mean, Deadpool is kind of doing this weird thing with Disney where he reviews trailers for other movies. So yeah, just I'm just saying, I would love to see more of these two in the MCU. A cartoon series would be fun, whatever. So yeah, let's move on. So Loki, I believe, is just such a great outlet for, well, the character Loki, because it just gave him his moment to shine. I know a lot of people love Loki, and he wasn't really given a lot of time to develop over the years, apart from, well, Ragnarok, and we just continued the trend here. Actually, since this is a different Loki, well, he did go through the same like redemption arc, and hopefully we continue till we, well, he kind of already is, but he continues to on his hero's journey of redemption. And that's just what we love with these Disney Plus series, because it just gives a lot of the side characters, like, again, Wanda, the Vision, Falcon, Bucky, their own outlets to develop and grow as characters, because we don't see much of them in the first phase of the MCU, or the first few phases of the MCU, which relatively focused on the big Avengers, Tony Stark, Captain America, and these guys were just thrown to the sideline. And again, we said this in our other videos, but we'll say it again. Just so amazing how they are now given the forefront of the Marvel franchise. I mean, they will carry the next phase of this, so it's not really weird, but yeah, it's just awesome to give us this series, because you won't get the same amount of character development in one movie. So yeah, kudos to Disney Plus for that. So we're giving Loki a solid 9 out of 10, and I know we've said this about WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but Loki is just such an epic series, and it just manages to raise the bar just that much higher. And in terms of the gravity of the events in relation to the future MCU stories that we will have, I think Loki is definitely a must-watch, because it just has such a huge impact on what's to come for Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, of course, Spider-Man Far From Home, and Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania, all trying to deal with the consequences of this multiversal event that Loki, or Sylvie, has unleashed into the MCU. So now let's move on to our speculations of what is potentially to come in the near future of the MCU. And this is just, a bunch of our fan theories. These are just a bunch of our fan theories, and yeah, take them all with a grain of salt. Some of them, or most of them, probably will not happen, but we will be super excited if they did. So number one, we can now probably introduce the Fantastic Four, X-Men, other Marvel properties, and just blame it on the timeline. So my reasoning for this is, the past years, not so long ago, Marvel actually released a story, Battle World, where different realities kind of merged into one. And yeah, I would like to see them try to do a version of that, where we get the Fox universe, the Sony universe, just merging into the overall MCU. And yeah, we get to see the Fantastic Four. And actually, well, although we all know what happened to the last iteration of the Fantastic Four, so I kind of hope they remake it in like a version. So we kind of all know what happened to the last iteration of the Fantastic Four. So we kind of hope that they do they do a new version of them for the MCU. Secondly, now that we have a multiverse going on, I think it's about time that we get the opportunity to, get some fan favorite variants like Gwenpool, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man War, just to name a few. I mean, I'm kind of biased because I love Deadpool and Spider-Man, but you get my point. So number 3, we potentially could get to see different councils for our favorite superheroes. So essentially, a council is like a multiversal gathering of the same superhero. Like for example, Spider-Man. A few years ago, Spider-Man in the comics had to team up with the whole multiverse of Spider-Man to defeat Morlun and his family, trying to kill all of them and gain more power. And yeah, we would love to see a lot of storylines like that. I mean, we kind of already did with Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man we got to see a bit of that in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, but yeah, we will have to see more of those type of councils. I mean, there are a lot, like Deadpool Corps, the Parliament of Doom, and we'll get to Doctor Doom in a bit, and why we think, I mean, even without the Fantastic Four, I think now that Kang the Conqueror is introduced, I think we would be able to, appreciate being able to see Doctor Doom, because, Dr. Kang the Conqueror and Doom does have close ties in the comics. Number 4, again, having a multiversal thing, a multiversal event. So again, having a multiversal event happening in the MCU, there are no others. Well, there are many storylines that involves the multiverse, but none as prominent as Secret Wars and again Battle World. So hopefully we get to see a version of that for the MCU. So number 5, this is not multiverse related. This is more on the small scale superheroes like Black Widow and of course Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Because after their stories, we got to see Black Widow, the Black Widow movie, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and both of them have introduced this new character called V, or Madame Hydra, and I believe her introduction is kind of Shang-Chi is coming up, and we do know that Abomination will be a villain in his movie. It's not far off to think that he will be the Hulk version for the Dark Avengers or the Thunderbolts. Maybe. So number 6, we already kind of mentioned him at number 3, but yeah, with the multiverse stuff going on, we do hope to see more multiversal villains. Most notably is Morlun and his family. Of course, he is a Spider-Man villain, and yeah, we would love to see just a version of their battles, in the MCU. So number 7, we have Doctor Doom. Again, since the introduction of Kang the Conqueror, it's not far off that we get to see Doctor Doom at some point, because Dr. Kang, I can't talk with the Dr. Kang. Kang the Conqueror does have ties, they're kind of buddies, villain buddies, Kang the Conqueror kind of believes that he is from Doctor Doom's bloodline or something like that. So yeah, hopefully we get to see them team up against the Earth's mightiest heroes. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's, well, generally that's it. Our fan favorite theories that should appear soon in the MCU, and we would love to see in the MCU. But yeah, what do you guys think? Which storyline would you like to see in the MCU, and what do you think will happen because of this multiversal chaos, this madness? It's madness, and again, we are just so excited to see what happens and how this impacts Spider-Man and Far From Home, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and of course Ant-Man and Wasp, Quantumania. And again, guys, what do you think? Comment it down below. We would love to hear your fan theories about this. And yeah, that's it for today's video. And as always, if you do like it, please do give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe and notification bell so you'll be notified of our next videos. Once again, it's me, your bearded bro, QuickSilver 15, signing off. Peace.